Hey, I'm Derek with Distant Thought Candle Company. Just wanted to do a quick recap on the first week of being open. Big shout out and thanks to anyone who's ordered or visited the site or checked out the social media. I've given some of my friends that do marketing, the opportunity to give me some feedback on the website, and that's been really helpful. Just even the nice things they've said have been great, but things that they would do differently or improve on have given me a lot of opportunity for improvement early on. So shout out and thanks to all of them and all of you if you're watching this. This is more of cataloging my thoughts and experiences so far and sharing those with you so that if you want to start a small business, whether it's crafts, candles, soaps, whatever, anything that I can share along the way is kind of what I'm gearing towards. So first things that really come to mind in the first week, I'm getting a couple orders every day, so it's giving me the opportunity to really visit my packing and shipping. Um, I've learned early on that I really dislike plastic paper tape. It seems minuscule. It seems, probably like the least of my problems, but it's something that I recognize as an opportunity early on to improve. Yesterday, I ordered some gum paper tape, which is it's what Amazon uses, where it's not it's a paper product, but it's got the little plastic you know webbing in it that helps reinforce it. And what it does is it adhesives or it fuses with the cardboard box to make it stronger, and then those plastic lines in there are reinforcement there. So ordered some of that with my font logo on it just to see how it would look. I think it would improve the aesthetic with the background being white on the cardboard box. I think those contrasts would give it a more visually pleasing aesthetic. Upon arrival over the trying to secure it with the plastic tape. So I'm gonna give that a shot, and I might do a video on that once I, am playing around with it to see how well it works, how well it looks. Some of my, challenges with it in the beginning, but that was probably the biggest improvement I could see right off the bat, just as far as potential. And then the other thing that I recognized was how I pack things. Um, I had some friends and family that had ordered, and some strangers, and some of my sister gave me some good feedback. She sent me a picture once everything arrived, and I got to see little imperfections that maybe she won't notice, but I kind of snapshotted those pieces as I ship them just to see is this going to survive? Is this going to get dinged up? How is this going to look? So started to think more of how can I pack things and what do I need to be more aware of. So the density of your box is a big thing. The boxes I got for the first few shipments weren't very thick. They're more of a lightweight cardboard. So I'm going to visit and get a stronger cardboard. Um, Also buy those in a little bit of a bulk, but also the dimensions of the box. I mocked up shipping 4 candles in a box, and got something that would still give me space to protect it, but now I've got to think a little differently because maybe I need an option for 2 candles. Maybe I need an option for 5 or 6 candles, and then exist somewhere in between those. Or if someone's ordering 4 candles and I have the capacity for 6, that's giving me the opportunity for better protection. So the thickness of the cardboard was one thing I really identified early on, and now I'm working on, as well as creating space between the products and the sides. So that means the bottom as well as the internal sides. So just trying to keep everything in the middle of the package so that there's cushion on all sides. It's something that I've noticed with some of the candle suppliers that I order from. I've seen where there's not a lot of padding in the bottom of things. So I had a couple bent wicks or broken wicks that came, not completely broken, but their wax casing on the outside of it was snapped on a couple of them, and everything set at the bottom of the package. So something that I was just I'm trying to keep my eye on, not to be perfect in everything that I do, but to give me an idea of where I can make improvements. So that's the two things that really stick out so far is how the package is going to arrive to a customer, what they're going to see, and what they're going to experience. I'm using biodegradable peanuts along with honeycomb uh, recycled paper, which both are great. But I do want to get away from the peanuts just because it's kind of a nuisance for anyone opening them. I don't find any joy in opening a package and having to figure out what I'm going to do with packing peanuts, or what they're going to do. At least for now, I've been able to save them from suppliers just to, it's one less expense, and it's something in excess that I can store just to reuse later on. But eventually I want to get away from that just because it is, kind of a nuisance. So I try to think of, I try to be the customer. I try to think of what their experience is going to be when they receive the package and open everything up. And so that's where I'm looking to improve next. I really like the honeycomb paper, but I've got to figure out a way to where I can have everything in the honeycomb paper, but still be, visually pleasing when they pull the candle out. And so I don't box each individual candle. I'm trying to stay away from extra costs because that does get passed on to whoever's buying it. And so I'm trying to keep everything simple. But at the same time, a lot of the feedback I've gotten has been good on the scents, and now I'm finding things that I can improve on with everything else. So if the candle works and the wick performs and the wax is hot throwing well, those are the things that I really want to look at. But I also think it's an opportunity for any kind of business owner to look at their packaging and find a way to improve. If everything you do is great, and you want to revisit how your products look when they're received, then that's something that I think is important, and maybe more so important than boxing it or thank you cards. So that's really just my first thoughts. Obviously, I'm super new to this. We're only a weekend, so I'm not gonna sit here and say that I do anything better than anyone else, but it's just something that I've recognized early on that I think I could improve on, and if I can, then maybe someone else can too. But going through product lines, I've gotten some really good sales. I've sold out of a couple of different scents so far, and that's been phenomenal. This is kind of my video journal to collect my thoughts and look back on them, but so far scents are all good, and sold out of a couple of them, more of like wood scents or wood blends that probably curtail better with the fall, or coincide better with the fall, I should say. Looking forward to spring, and I'm starting to think of my opportunities where I can expand a little bit. Not entirely new product lines, not a bunch of new fragrances or anything like that, but I did order some soap making supplies just to play around with that and see if if I can do any soaps and if it's fun. It seems like something pretty simple that I could put into packages when people order candles. It's like a thank you, and maybe create some interest in that. But it's not something I'm looking to pivot to. It's not anything I'm trying to launch per se. But I think there's opportunities where we can expand a little bit, or create some new ideas. It opens our opportunities to offer products that people may have interest in. If someone visits my website that doesn't like candles or doesn't use room sprays or wax melts, maybe they just want to support me, and they're looking for a new soap or something like that. That would be cool. But the same way that I started candles to save myself money, I started thinking about making soap to save myself money. With where we're at, in the economy and things like that, it's always nice to find a better product for a lesser price. And so immediately my thoughts went from let's make this to save some money to, hey, let's make this and see if anyone likes it. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if they do or not. It's probably going to do it either way. And anything I don't sell, I can still use. So those are really the big thoughts so far. Probably looking into wholesale in the next 3 to 4 months. Really want to get my packaging down. Really want to get consistency across all of the things that I do, and then be able to create a wholesale catalog and go into that foray. So I hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving. I'm recording this the Saturday after, and appreciate you watching the video. Stay tuned for more.